You ever just having a lazy Saturday afternoon and sitting on the couch and you decide to just watch, some nice comfy movie, and you decide, I really like Takashi Miike's movies. These, they're like a warm blanket.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they though?
Well, okay, maybe not. Visitor Q, if you have ever seen it, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
It actually came out November 26, 2002. And I think I watched it around that time. I don't know how they got this movie, the people I was watching it with. I don't have a clue. But that's what we decided to watch one night. You watched it the first time with me once again.
Yeah.
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 And what were your thoughts?
Oh,
the first
God,
time?
I didn't even know what to make of it at all.
Were you like, this is the woman I'm going to marry?
Yeah.
What is wrong with her? These movies that she brings in, they're horrible. Every single time we talk about these movies, I'm the one that made them watch them.
Yeah, that's true.
And, I mean, some are great for you to have that experience. And
Oh, yeah.
some are like, huh? Why? Stop it. From the very start of it.
Yeah,
It hits you right in the face. We are going to do spoilers because there really is no way around it.
It's very hard to talk about without.
Yeah, you wouldn't get very much information. Be like, yeah, so this guy, and then everything was cool.
Yeah.
The end. It's so much. So yeah, we're going to go through it and kind of give you the message of the movie, because I think a lot of people miss it because of such shocking scenes.
Right.
Surprisingly, this falls on the horror category.
Yeah, I saw it listed as horror comedy, which I was like, I don't really find any of it funny.
You really don't? I find a lot of it funny. Maybe because there's something wrong with me.
Maybe.
Hey, this movie has 5 characters in it, and but it starts off with 4. And it's the dysfunctional family. There's a mother and a father and a preteen son, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then an older daughter. They are the epitome of dysfunctional.
Oh, yeah. It's an understatement.
It started off the movie with something that is incredibly shocking and uncomfortable to watch, and really, really sets the tone of this movie and how dark it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you really don't know how the rest of it's going to turn out after this. You're just like, oh, what dark, scary rabbit hole did I just get into here? So it starts off with the father and his daughter. She is a prostitute, and she's given favors to her father.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
There's something, when you first watch this, you'll notice that it kind of throws me off every time. But in Japan, they blur out wieners.
Yeah.
And that's it. Okay, just point that out. That's it. That's all they blur out. But yet they show these horrible things.
Yeah.
But not that wiener.
Nope.
Don't want the wiener. So it's a little strange to me. But either way, the transaction happens.
Yes.
And he goes on with his day. And while he's sitting, I think it's at a train station or bus station. You can't tell that much. But a man who's standing outside smoking, he just opens the window behind this guy and hits him in the head with a big ass rock.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to go into the family. You get to their house and you see the dysfunction in it pretty quickly. Like I said, the house is pretty tore up.
Oh, yeah.
You start to see with this movie why and how these things are happening. Because first you just see the son beating his mom and you're like, Jesus, that is horrible.
Right.
Of course it's horrible. But then you find out that the son has bullies at school who were shooting fireworks into the house, breaking glass. More of those screens, those poor screens.
Yeah.
And so you could see where his anger comes from.
Right.
This visitor Q, he's there for a reason. You don't really know why. You don't know where he comes from, aside from the fact that he's the guy that hit the dad on the head with a rock.
Yeah.
But he's there for a purpose. I don't want to say all of the scenes because some of them are pretty shocking, and I really don't want to take that shock value away from you. I think preparing you for that opening scene is good enough.
Yeah.
But there are some pretty graphic scenes throughout the rest of this. It's not beating necessarily.
Yeah.
Breast milk and necrophilia.
Yeah.
That's the clues I'm going to give you today.
Prepare yourselves, folks, if you're going to watch this one, because good God.
It's a lot. I think the storyline with this movie, you have all these shocking scenes, and so you have a hard time putting it all together.
Yes.
The first time I watched it, I was like, I mean, I kind of got the gist of it, but it's still, one, I'm reading subtitles, and two, just everything coming at you like that. It's amazing that I got through it. But I eventually have learned, obviously, the backstory to this and why, or what its message is. And this is something I've seen a theme with now, where both Suicide Club had kind of the same idea, where in Japan things are just so strict and their lifestyle's so, I don't know, it doesn't seem as fun. It's much more structured.
Very routine.
Yeah. And
yeah, by the way, when we talk about other cultures and stuff, we're just basing it on what is being portrayed in the movies that we're watching. So, we're by no means experts or anything. We're just talking about what we're observing when we watch these movies.
Yeah, we haven't been to Japan.
Someday.
Someday it's happening.
We're coming, Japan.
If you would like to fund that trip, we would appreciate it. I think the message behind this movie is you can still be dysfunctional, but you can be dysfunctional together.
Yeah.
It's kind of a strange way of putting it, because you expect that all of this crap that happens through this movie, and you're like, God, this is horrific.
Yeah.
And you're hoping for a happy ending.
And in a way, you kind of get it.
You kind of get it.
Like the most dysfunctional happy ending you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. And it's just so, I don't know, he intentionally made it a not so happy ending.
Right.
But basically the family comes back together.
Yes.
The boy has been set straight by Visitor Q, as does the daughter. She comes back, and after getting hit over the head with a rock as well. Apparently that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I guess that's where that term, getting hit over the head with something, it comes from. But this movie, it definitely does have horror-ish scenes in it. I don't think that there was any blood or anything like that.
Not really. I mean, there's a little bit.
It's not like gore by any means.
No, it's not.
This
like
is not
your
a
typical,
gore movie.
Yeah, not your typical Japanese gore.
No,
by any means.
Despite the fact that it is Takashi Miike's movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's just known for being so balls out with everything, as far as shocking imagery, gore, the whole 9 yards. Ichi the Killer probably, I think, is the best example of it.
And most popular.
Yeah, but he's done a lot of weird movies too, like obviously Visitor Q, Sukiyaki Western Django is pretty far out.
Oh, that one's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's definitely, I'd say, if you think about, Japanese films as far as the extreme end of the spectrum, I think he's right there at the forefront of it,
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the more well-known Japanese directors.
I mean, just for an example, like he did a Masters of Horror episode, and it was so extreme that they wouldn't show it. It was only on the DVD set. It never aired on television. Yeah,
that is interesting. Yeah. Did you watch it?
I don't believe I've seen it. I just remember reading about it.
Oh, okay. Because I know you have. Oh, you have John Carpenter.
I have the John Carpenter ones. Yeah.
Of course you do. Of course you have it. So, a lot of people want something different and shocking, and a lot of people talk about, I don't know, the Serbian film and things like that. This is shocking in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's not a lot of gore or things like that.
Yeah, it's more psychological.
Very psychological. And it kind of makes you appreciate your life a little bit more after you watch it. And like I was saying earlier, like with Suicide Club, it was, do you know yourself, well enough? Can you be yourself and be okay with that? And with this movie, it's okay to not be the most perfect family on earth, as long as you're happy together. The family that kills together stays together.
Yeah, and I also thought maybe it was also kind of saying, underneath, these people are messed up and you don't even know about it. Because, like, if somebody on the street saw those people, they probably wouldn't know. They would just think it was a typical family.
Well, yeah, because they're just dressed normal. And I think that's why it was good when they showed the son being bullied. That it's like, okay, I see where it comes from. And you can see that he's a totally different person outside of his home, where he's incredibly timid and scared.
Yeah.
And so it makes a little more sense. The mom, when she leaves the house, she is dressed very nicely. Unfortunately, having to limp down the street because of what her son has done to her, but it puts this facade on for them. And the father, he's really trying to be like a newscaster or something like that, and he just sucks at it.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. So this whole time he's trying to come up with this story. So it does get recorded in this, which is funny. So, and like Josh said, there's not a lot of funny scenes, but there is. If you have a sick sense of humor, you know it. And if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm referring to. And it does make me laugh still, despite the uncomfortableness of this movie. So I do think that people should check it out, but be aware that this is not your typical thing. You know, if you know Japanese movies, they are not American horror.
Exactly.
It's just not going to be like that. A lot of them are psychological, and bring in their culture itself and the environment and all that. So it's a different feeling than what American horror would be.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is a good place to start.
No, go start with Ichi the Killer.
But if you've seen stuff like Ichi or Tetsuo the Iron Man or Audition, you'll at least be partially prepared for what you're going to see if you watch Visitor Q. But if you're a novice, I definitely would not start with Visitor Q.
Yeah. This was when I watched this for the first time, like I said, it really shocked me, of course, but it was also because I was just being introduced to Japanese movies. So this movie, Ichi the Killer, Suicide Club, there's this series, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a bunch of shorts, and in it is one called Mermaid in a Manhole. We'll have to find it and review it because it's rough. So this is my introduction to Japanese movies, and I was dumbfounded by what I was watching.
I mean, I'd seen some of that stuff, some of the movies I mentioned earlier prior to seeing Visitor Q, and even still, because it's shocking in such a different way. You know, it's
incredibly jarring right at the beginning. You're just like, okay, oh God, all right, that's where we're at. And I thought it was a good idea to have a ham sandwich. Well, because I needed some lunch, and I said before I made it, you know, the two things that really don't go well together is food and Japanese horror.
That's true.
It's just like, I can't do it. So I had a hard time. I only ate half of that sandwich because it just was too much. So anyway, check it out. I have seen it around as far as being sold in stores like Amoeba or that kind of thing. You'll probably be able to find it online. I've never seen it streaming. I think that this one would not be something you would be able to easily find. The copy that I have, I don't even know where I got it. I don't remember. It might have been, we were talking about Hastings earlier. It might have been Hastings and Ames. I just don't know. Maybe Visitor Q dropped it off.
Maybe.
He was like, y'all look pretty dysfunctional. I'm not going to hit you over the head with a rock, but here's this movie. Appreciate your life a little bit more after you watch it. So
was he real, though? That's the question.
I think so. I think he was actually real. He's an alien.
Because he kind of just disappears at the end, and then I was like, a second I was like, is he real? Is he sort of a mass delusion?
I think what it was that he did his job. He's like, I'm done here. After the son was like, did you come here to ruin our lives, And he was like, all right, I'm done.
My work here is done.
So he just leaves. He's done. And he goes on to the next family to hopefully help them. That's the only happy ending in this, is that this man did turn these people's world upside down. And just give them a different perspective. So, anything else you want to say about it?
No, I think we pretty much covered it at this point. I think I'm good.
And, we had to do a couch sesh. It's just how it is.
That's right. Every once in a while we may have to do a couch sesh. Just to mix it up a little for you guys.
Oh, yeah, mixing it up. Ooh. But also, lazy.
We're lazy. That too.
The table I would have had to clean off. I had my bills on it. It's rough.
Rough in these streets.
It is. Well, we did some hard work this morning.
Oh, yeah, we did. We were planting like true old people. We were
and then he's drinking tea.
And I'm drinking some tea. This is having my afternoon tea here.
I'm going to give you some grapefruit juice later on, and prunes. So, anyway, I want to know, have you seen this movie? What were your thoughts on this movie? And, or after you watch this and you go watch the movie, let me know what you thought. Come back to us. Let us know.
Yes, we really want to know on this one for sure.
Because this is, we did Holy Mountain, and a lot of people watched that video. And we did not anticipate that at all. We were like, this one may take a shit. This one, but we're still trying to figure out how this all works.
Exactly, because it seems, there's no, so far we haven't figured out any rhyme or reason to why you guys watch some videos and not others, so. let us know in the comments because, well, we want to give the people what they want.
Yes.
We're here to please.
We're here to please. And it takes us about 2 to 3 days to edit those videos.
Yeah.
So your 17 to 20 minutes that you get takes me 3 days.
Yeah.
So, especially Maniac.
Yeah, go back and watch that Maniac once you're done with this one.
I mean, you can just get your fill of prostitutes from both movies. That one's dead, prostitute still, but, this one, they stay alive.
Well, yeah.
It's okay.
That's right.
So, anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye!